Hello, and welcome to my podcast on managing sporting organisations. My name is James Corrigan. Throughout the following moments, I'll be talking to you about how a specific organisation, in this case Decathlon, utilised the concept of control as a medium to satisfy both internal stakeholders, such as employees, as well as external stakeholders, such as customers and partners in which they collaborate with. To conduct this study effectively, I set out four main aims. Firstly, explain the concept of control in managing sporting organisations from a variety of different academic perspectives. Moving on, I will give you an overview of various control models that could be implemented within the organisation. Exploring key stakeholders who initiate, force and alleviate the concept of control. Finally, I will then explain the effective initiative Decathlon implement in order to control their most important stakeholder groups. Firstly, who are Decathlon? Decathlon are a public limited company providing premium tailor-made sportswear. In 1976, the first Decathlon store opened in north of France, Lille. In 2012, Decathlon Coventry opened 14 stores in the UK. 2 further opened in 2013, a further 10 will be hoping to open in 2015-2016. Decathlon prides themselves on 4 main values. These values are vitality, responsibility, sincerity and generosity. Moving forward, understanding the positioning of a company is vital to ensure success within the future. Decathlon aims to encourage participation in sport and make the pleasure and benefits of sport available to many. Decathlon positions themselves as an organisation that is unique to no other, providing tailor-made products for customers. They possess a multinational identity operating in 17 different countries. Decathlon's innovation programme Play Everywhere allows them to position themselves as an organisation who promote a healthy and active lifestyle. This runs in turn with government and organisational body regulations. Organisational control as a concept. Biosec and Parent 2012 argued that control can be studied across many levels and is dependent upon the context that it's set. This is contradicted through Eisenhower 1985, who suggests that organisational control should only be incorporated through performance management techniques. However, Johnson and Gill 1993 further suggests that organisational control activity through design and implementation of processes, including outcome, behaviour and social, which I will go into more detail into the following slides. Firstly, before I talk about control mechanisms, I would like to talk about the importance of the key stakeholders that you need to control. Freeman 1984 suggests that a stakeholder is any person or group who can be positively or negatively impacted by or cause an impact on the actions of a company. Firstly, we look at customers. They will be a dependent stakeholder. They have a legitimate claim that the organisation needs to listen and adhere to their needs. However, they have very little power in implementing a change from the organisation. Secondly, employees. They would be demanding. It is important to make a conscious effort with the employees. Controlling this group is important for productivity, motivation, morale, and ultimately customer satisfaction. Finally, we look at partnerships. They are a dominant stakeholder. They deserve attention and they must have a legitimate claim. This is due to collaborating with partnerships throughout the year is vital to any organisation. This moves me on to our next slide. This model shows the 3 differentiated mechanisms of control in relation to the stakeholders previously spoken about. Firstly, outcome. This is the provision of reward and pay. Secondly, behavioural. These are rules and regulations that should be put in place to control both internal and external stakeholders. Socialisation are trends, beliefs and values which constantly fluctuate. These mechanisms can be linked to both internal and external stakeholders. Firstly, outcome is a huge factor that Decathlon use in order to control staff internally. Decathlon set clear goals and targets, including sales targets to ensure staff have a clear focus. Bonuses are rewarded and awards are given each month for recognition. In the first instance, regarding partnerships with the Coventry Half Marathon, it is vital that Decathlon don't take on too much responsibility. The reason for this is that an event like this can be difficult to control. It can negatively affect the reputation of the company. However, if it is managed effectively and controlled effectively, it can act positively upon Decathlon. The outcome can be a positive one. This is due to generating exposure of the brand and adding to brand equity. Secondly, in relation to behaviour, Decathlon lack control heavily in this area. They lack clarity and cohesion within the organisation. Firstly, customer charter. No clarity with refunded items. It's left to employees' interpretation. This causes confusion and a loss of consistency. Furthermore, there are no structured breaks. This causes communication issues. This can lead to consumer dissatisfaction as issues are not dealt with. Finally, stock control is the last one. They lost a massive £70,000 from unused resources. Through having a managed control system, they are able to tune their resources more effectively and therefore make a greater profit. Finally, Decathlon utilised socialisation as a mechanism of control to satisfy internal stakeholders in the form of employees, but also external stakeholders such as customers. Decathlon brought together all of their employees, stressing high levels of cultural and social integration. They made a campaign which consisted of marketing all of their products through a flash mob, which at the time was an external societal trend. Through playing on this and reacting to an external trend, they were able to maximise both sales and revenue. My next slide will be a video of this societal trend. My recommendations for Decathlon going forward. I will either a distinct lack of communication control from floor managers through to employees. Referring back to internal control where I mentioned behaviour in relation to customer service, there is no consistency. Through allowing all employees to make a decision on whether an item is refundable causes inconsistencies in relation to customer communication. All employers are likely to possess different perception, causing lack of clarity and consistency when returning items. This ultimately has a knock-on effect to the reputation of Decathlon, comprising one of their main values, which is maintaining customer charter at all times. Furthermore, another control mechanism I spoke about was outcome. I spoke about one of the events which they invested resources into, both time and financial. In order to ensure return on time and investment, incorporating an outcome control mechanism can help them achieve this. An example of this would be to introduce vouchers on post-events that they're involved in. Through this, Decathlon are able to control how many people have gained interest into the organisation by visiting and purchasing their products. This then allows them to analyse the benefits of allocating resources to such an event. Finally, Decathlon could think about reducing their core values from 4 to 2. This would allow much more specificity and would allow customers and employees to understand the organisation more. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Here are my references.